Are you of the mindset of never stop learning? Do you own a business that you want to grow and scale? Well, today I have another installment and the last installment of the So What series. And today we're talking about, so what is the risk of not monitoring your systems? Hi, I'm Rosalie and I'm your Latina risk expert. I help impact-driven businesses take control of their risks so they can protect, optimize, and scale their worth. You are in the right place if you are looking for risk strategies, tactics, and resources to propel you and your business like never before. Let's get started. There are a ton of risks when running a business, and today we're talking about one that is extremely important, and that is your systems. So what is the risk of not monitoring your systems? You risk creating a tech ecosystem that doesn't work for your business. You risk unauthorized or inefficient use of your technology resources, and you risk tanking your reputation if you have mismanagement of data and, for example, customer data leaks. You don't have to be a technology company to be worried about technology. It's an important part of any business, especially nowadays. Systems can help us streamline and automate and facilitate data and improve the customer experience so that they have the best experience possible. How should we think about it? Let's talk about the who, what, and how of systems. Number one, know what systems you have. It is important that you know your tech stack or your tech ecosystem, and this represents all the systems that you use in your business. I can't tell you how many times that I've worked with a client or worked on a project where I ask for what seems like a simple request: what are all the systems that you use in your business? And they are not able to provide it. And this is just because it hasn't been a focus, because you're growing your business, you're working on the day-to-day, you want to get things done, but you don't stop and build that infrastructure that will help you and protect you. And one of those things is having a list of all of the tech systems that you have. You may know some of the systems, you may not know all of them. You may know that you have employees that have implemented systems that you're not fully aware of or know what capability they're using them in. This is why it's important to have a full comprehensive list. And it doesn't have to be a complicated list or very complex. It just means that you know which systems that you are using in your business, why are you using them, and why are they critical or maybe just important to your business. So especially any systems that are related to your financial data, you want to make sure that those are critical and that you have a good handle on them. And so that way also, anytime that disaster strikes or your operations are interrupted, you know which systems are critical to keeping your business going. Checking your systems periodically will help you decide where you have systems that you need and where you have systems that you may be able to change or take away. So you might find that you have systems that you don't need because they might be duplicate, or systems that don't align with where you're trying to take the company. You might also find that you've implemented a system that an employee has implemented that doesn't make sense or that you didn't approve. You'll also figure out if you have an inefficient use of systems or if you're overpaying for systems. Number two is to know who has access to those systems. Especially in the beginning of a business, you sign up for a lot of systems. Any system that you need to keep your business running and to keep it running smoothly, you add those systems. And you might just add admin access because that makes it easier. And then as you start to expand and hire more and build a team, you add access to them to see the system as well. And you might end up adding admin access because that's the easiest thing to do. And this may work for the short term because in the bigger picture, it might give them access to tasks or to roles that they don't necessarily need access to. And it might cause confusion for your employees because then they see a whole bunch of items and really they only need access to 2 of those items to complete their job. And it might not just cause confusion, but it might leave you open and vulnerable to fraud because they may have access to things that they don't even know they have access to. So they may edit a field that they're not supposed to. They may add a field that they're not supposed to. They may even accidentally delete your entire email list. And that's the last thing that you want. And whether they're doing that in a fraudulent manner or whether they're accidentally doing that, it still will cause a disruption. And also allowing too much access and not controlling it, you might end up spending more money than you mean to. Make sure that you are setting up your systems correctly and that you are reviewing for who has access to what and what systems you're using. So whether that's accounting, whether that's who's processing orders, who's allowed to make orders from vendors, you want to look at all of that. And especially very, very important is that when you hire contractors or when you hire employees, that when they're done with the project or when they leave the company, you are adjusting that access. And so if you have control over who has access to what systems, you'll easily be able to look at that and remove that access. Because I have seen that months later, there might have been a contractor you're working with or an employee that left that still has access to your systems. And it would be a very, very negative situation if they have access to systems that are critical to you and that could impact your business operations. And even more critical if you don't even know that they have this type of access. Number 3 is to know how data is managed within those systems. Data is everywhere. It enables our business to succeed. We use it to deliver our product or our service to our customer. We use it to give our customer the best experience possible. But because data is everywhere, it is something that we need to be very careful about how we collect it, how we manage it, and how we dispose of it. We don't want to hurt our business if we collect data in an unauthorized way or if we accidentally leak data to parties that should not have it. Especially when it comes to our customer information, it is extremely important that we follow the data and know where it is and know how we collect it. So the last thing a customer wants to see is their data out there, their personal data, whether that's their name, their email, or their address out there for everyone to see or use or even take advantage of. They'll feel that their trust was violated and you will risk losing the reputation that you've built. So to give you some examples, anytime you post a testimonial or even post an order that you received from the customer, make sure that their name or their address is hidden unless you have explicit permission. So in a very real example, I recently received a package where I had ordered a couple products and the paper that was inserted into that package was not mine. It was another customer and another order, but it was placed into the box that I had. And it was what I had ordered, but now I had information that I didn't necessarily need or want. And now I feel bad for that customer because now their information is out there. And so this is a real example of if you do not have the right procedures in place, you might end up violating some of that customer's information and sending it out to somebody who it's not supposed to go to. Now in my case, I sent an email to customer support, and so I let them know what happened and what I had received instead of the invoice that I should have received. And I let them know that they should improve their procedures around it so that they don't risk sending another wrong invoice within a customer package. So that was a case of an invoice, but it could also be something in terms of your customer data. So if customer data leaks, that's a huge incident and that will have very severe repercussions. So you want to make sure data for customers is always protected and that you have the right procedures around it. You could even risk legal implications, so lawsuits, fines, and penalties. And not only will you spend time apologizing and rectifying the situation, but now you'll have to implement an ongoing process for how you'll make sure that will not happen again. And that takes time and takes money that you could have spent in your business on other tasks that are more important and more growth driving and revenue generating that will help your business. Do not let technology stunt your business growth, because the really harsh reality is that only 50% of businesses make it to its 5th birthday. And I am on a mission to make sure that that statistic changes. I want your business to succeed, and that's why I put out all this risk content and knowledge and strategies so that you are enabled to run your business as a powerhouse. So don't be caught in the dark. Don't let this be you. Manage your risks by setting up your systems, managing your access, and managing your data the right way from the start. You want to make sure that you evaluate your systems regularly, especially as you grow and add new technology that will enable your business to succeed. So keep track of all of your systems. They do add up fast. Keep track of who has access to those systems, whether it's role-based, whether it's an admin type access, or whether you're just granting access to a specific task. Make sure you're aware of all of that. And also understand how you are managing your data. You want to enable your business, not leave it vulnerable. I work with my clients on a systems assessment, and this is where we sit together and we understand what systems you have in place, why you have them in place, and who has access to them. And we also understand where you have potential gaps or data vulnerabilities and where you might be able to enhance the systems that you're currently using. And also where you might have duplicate systems like we talked about earlier in this video. This is a great project to be able to do so that you know that you've managed your tech ecosystem and know exactly where your tech stack is. And there you go. Monitoring your systems is one of the 5 steps that I address in my free risk resource that I'll talk about at the end of this video. If you want to build a business in a way that works for the long term, that is sustainable, that gives you the business of your dreams, you want to make sure that you're monitoring your systems. This will avoid any headaches, any overwhelm, and any stress, because you will know exactly where your tech stack is and where it should go. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and if you are hungry to build more of your risk skill set, go ahead and head to my website and download my free risk resource, 5 steps to jumpstart your risk journey now. It will help you and your business build the right foundations to grow for the long term.